Welcome to Gamer Roots. Today we're delving into one of the darkest aspects of the Fallout universe, Vault-Tec's most disturbing experiments. After the success of the newly released Fallout series by Amazon, we think this would be the perfect time to give you the full rundown and history of some of the most chilling and morally questionable experiments that were carried out in the vaults across the series. Vaults were initially promised to the public as safe havens to protect humanity from the horrors of nuclear war. However, as you journey through the Fallout games, you quickly learn that Vault-Tec's real agenda was far more sinister. These seemingly secure shelters often held dark secrets, being used for inhumane social and scientific experiments on their inhabitants. In this video, we're going to explore the 18 most disturbing Vault-Tec experiments that truly showcase the depths of Vault-Tec's morally bankrupt plans. So buckle up and get ready for a deep dive into the twisted world of Fallout's vaults.
Okie dokie.
Vault 87, birthplace of the Capital Wasteland Mutants. Vault 87 is one of the most infamous and disturbing vaults in the Fallout series. Located in the heart of the Capital Wasteland, the vault was the site of unethical and horrifying forced evolutionary virus, FEV, experiments. The vault was originally designed to serve as a research facility for FEV testing, with the vault's residents used as unwitting test subjects. Upon entering the vault, inhabitants were immediately exposed to a potent strain of the FEV virus, with catastrophic effects. Within 2 weeks of exposure, many of the residents succumbed to the virus, dying from its lethal consequences. Those who survived were transformed into terrifying, monstrous forms known as Super Mutants and Centaurs. These mutations were carefully observed and recorded by Vault-Tec scientists stationed in the vault. The results were staggering and brutal. The once human residents of Vault 87 became the dangerous Super Mutants that now roam the Capital Wasteland, terrorizing the few survivors in the area. Vault 112, if a madman could rule the world. Vault 112, located beneath Smith Casey's garage in the Capital Wasteland, presents one of the most bizarre and disturbing experiments ever conducted by Vault-Tec. When the lone wanderer stumbles upon Vault 112 in Fallout 3, they discover a world that seems eerily similar to the iconic film The Matrix. Inside Vault 112, residents were placed in a state of suspended animation and hooked up to individual simulation pods that provided a virtual reality environment. However, unlike the film, the test subjects were fully aware that they were in a simulation, although they were told it would provide them with a perfect life. The mastermind behind Vault 112 was none other than Dr. Stanislaus Braun, the vault's overseer and a brilliant scientist who had lost his moral compass. Braun used the simulation to physically and psychologically torture the vault's residents, turning the idyllic simulation into a nightmarish and horrifying experience. He crafted his own twisted virtual world, known as Tranquility Lane, in which the residents were forced to endure his sadistic whims. The lone wanderer must navigate this twisted virtual environment to uncover the truth behind the vault's sinister experiment. Vault 101. No one ever enters and no one ever leaves. Vault 101, situated in the Capital Wasteland, is one of the first vaults most players experience in Fallout 3. The vault's slogan, "No one ever enters and no one ever leaves," sums up its core purpose: isolation. The vault was designed to test the long-term effects of total isolation from the outside world, as well as the impact of an all-powerful overseer on its inhabitants. The residents of Vault 101 were intended to remain inside indefinitely, with no exit permitted under any circumstances. The authoritarian rule of the overseer led to a society with strict rules and little room for personal freedom. As the sole survivor ventures out of Vault 101, they discover that the vault's isolation has left its mark on the world outside, impacting the wider Capital Wasteland. Vault 27, too many humans, not enough space. Vault 27 is one of the most disturbing experiments conducted by Vault-Tec due to its simplicity and the immediate impact on its residents. The vault's design purposefully overcrowded the space with double its maximum capacity, creating a severe situation of overpopulation. With far too many people and not enough space or resources, the inhabitants faced numerous challenges, including competition for living space, food, and other necessities. The vault's overpopulation inevitably led to social unrest, heightened tension, and an atmosphere of constant stress among the residents. The overcrowding experiment aimed to study the effects of extreme population density on human behavior and societal structure. It exposed the residents to constant conflict and the struggle for survival within their confined environment. Though Vault 27 does not appear in the main Fallout games, its mention in supplemental materials like Chris Avalone's Fallout Bible provides valuable insight into the lengths Vault-Tec would go to test the boundaries of human endurance and behavior in dire circumstances. Vault 19. A house divided against itself. Vault 19, located in the Mojave Wasteland, serves as a prime example of Vault-Tec's divisive and manipulative experiments. Upon arrival, residents were split into two groups, one red, one blue. These color-based groups were kept separate from one another, and the Vault staff subjected them to subliminal messaging intended to incite paranoia and distrust. Over time, the Vault's population became increasingly suspicious and hostile towards each other due to the subliminal messages. This experiment was designed to test the effects of long-term social division and manipulation on human behavior. Ultimately, the Vault's division led to its downfall, as the growing tension and mistrust among the residents culminated in violence and chaos. Vault 111. Suffering perfectly preserved through time. Vault 111, situated near the suburb of Sanctuary Hills in the Commonwealth, serves as the starting point for the sole survivor in Fallout 4. The Vault was presented to its residents as a safe haven from the nuclear apocalypse, but its true purpose was far more sinister. The primary experiment of Vault 111 revolved around suspended animation via cryogenic freezing. The Vault residents were placed in cryopods under the guise of undergoing a decontamination process. In reality, the residents were subjected to long-term cryogenic stasis, and the scientists monitored their physical and psychological reactions. The experiment quickly turned tragic when nearly all the Vault's occupants perished due to system failures over time. Only the sole survivor and a few others survived the stasis. The horror of Vault 111 lies in the residents' suffering, who had no choice but to endure the slow death of being frozen in time. Vault 12. The power of the atom will sort them out. Vault 12, located in the heart of Bakersfield, later known as Necropolis, is one of the most straightforwardly dishonest experiments conducted by Vault-Tec. The vault was designed with a purposefully faulty door that would not seal properly, allowing radiation to seep inside. The scientists aimed to study the effects of prolonged radiation exposure on human bodies. As a result, the residents were exposed to dangerous levels of radiation that transformed many of them into ghouls. Others who were not as affected by the radiation either fled or perished from the exposure. The lasting impact of this experiment is evident in the population of Necropolis, which the Vault Dweller can explore during the events of the original Fallout game. The city's inhabitants are primarily ghouls, struggling to survive in the post-apocalyptic world. Vault 75. Creating the master race no matter the cost. Vault 75 is located beneath Malden Middle School in the Commonwealth, serving as a haunting example of Vault-Tec's most heartless experiments. The vault was presented as a shelter for the school students and their families during a nuclear attack, but its true purpose was much darker. Upon entry, the students were separated from their parents, who were immediately executed by security staff under the guise of an orientation. The children were then subjected to rigorous physical and mental conditioning, designed to produce a master race of superior humans. Those who did not achieve satisfactory results were disposed of once they reached the age of 18. The few that did succeed were harvested for their superior genes. The harsh treatment and high stakes turned Vault 75 into a horrifying experiment that caused immeasurable suffering for the children. Vault 75 represents one of the most chilling and inhumane experiments by Vault-Tec, prioritizing genetic enhancement over the lives and well-being of its human subjects. Vault 22. Mother Nature returns with a vengeance. Vault 22, located in the Mojave Wasteland, was originally designed with a focus on sustainable agriculture. The Vault's experiment centered around sustaining its inhabitants solely through the use of innovative farming techniques, including the cultivation of various plants and crops. The Vault's inhabitants grew a specialized strain of fungus to protect their crops from pests. However, this fungus had unforeseen mutagenic properties. Over time, the fungus spread throughout the Vault, infecting both plants and humans. This led to the creation of spore carriers, dangerous, mutated creatures driven by aggressive and cannibalistic tendencies. The inhabitants of Vault 22 quickly fell victim to these dangerous mutants, and the Vault itself became overrun by the infection. The Vault's original goals of creating a self-sustaining environment were overshadowed by the unintended consequences of the experiment. Vault 13. Even when there's no plan, there's still a plan. Vault 13, located in Southern California, is one of the most notable vaults in the Fallout series, as it serves as the starting point for the original Fallout game. On the surface, Vault 13 was not assigned a specific experiment like many other vaults. Instead, it was designed to serve as a control vault, meant to be a normal, stable environment for its inhabitants. However, Vault 13 also had a hidden, sinister purpose. It served as an emergency stockpile of pure human beings, with the idea that these individuals, free of mutations or damage from the wasteland, could one day be called upon by the Enclave. The Enclave, remnants of the US government, planned to use these pure humans as slaves and test subjects for rebuilding the world in their own vision. During the events of Fallout 2, Vault 13's residents fell victim to the Enclave's plans when they were kidnapped and imprisoned aboard the Enclave's headquarters, the Poseidon oil rig. Those who weren't killed outright were subjected to the Enclave's experiments. Vault 34. From their cold dead hands. Vault 34, situated in the Mojave Wasteland, is perhaps best known for being the original home of the Boomers faction from Fallout New Vegas. The vault was designed with a particularly dangerous and destructive experiment in mind. Vault-Tec purposely overcrowded the vault and equipped it with an overly stocked armory containing a vast supply of weapons and ammunition. This setup aimed to observe the effects of cramped living conditions combined with easy access to deadly weaponry on the vault's inhabitants. The living conditions quickly led to tension and conflict among the residents. As the population grew and resources became scarce, people made frequent requests to access the armory for protection, but the overseer consistently denied their requests. This led to a violent uprising as the vault residents fought for survival and control of the vault's weapons. Ultimately, the chaos and infighting led to the vault's demise, with most of its inhabitants either killed in the conflict or driven out of the vault. The boomers emerged from Vault 34 and settled in Nellis Air Force Base, taking with them their knowledge of heavy weaponry. Vault 77. One man left to his own devices. Vault 77 is a unique case in the Fallout universe, as it was never directly featured in a game, but its story was explored in a promotional comic for Fallout 3. The vault's experiment was simple yet disturbing. The vault contained only one resident, a man left in total isolation. The man was provided with a collection of puppets as his only companions. This experiment was intended to observe the psychological effects of prolonged isolation and the coping mechanisms the man might develop. The lone resident, known as the Puppet Man, spent years alone with the puppets, and he seemingly lost touch with reality as he treated the puppets as real, living beings. The comic suggests that the Puppet Man eventually left the vault in 2079, 7 years after the Great War. While not much is known about his fate after leaving the vault, there is a hint in Fallout 3 that the Puppet Man might have become a frightening legend among the raiders of the wasteland. Vault 106. Breathe in that cool blue air. Vault 106, located in the capital wasteland, is known for one of the most disturbing experiments in the Fallout universe. The experiment began a mere 10 days after the vault door sealed. As Vault-Tec initiated the release of psychoactive drugs through the vault's air filtration system, the residents were exposed to these drugs unknowingly, leading to vivid and violent hallucinations. The long-term exposure to these drugs caused the inhabitants to lose their grip on reality, and most of them descended into madness. When the Lone Wanderer explores Vault 106 in Fallout 3, they encounter the tragic aftermath of this experiment. The few survivors left in the vault have been driven insane by their consistent exposure to the drugs, and will attack anyone on sight. Vault 81. If you can't find the guinea pig, you're it. Vault 81, located in the Commonwealth and featured in Fallout 4, is an unusual case within the Fallout universe because its original experiment was halted before it could be fully carried out. The vault's original purpose was to test various diseases and illnesses on the residents without their knowledge, while a secret team of scientists operated from a hidden part of the vault to develop and test cures. The overseer of Vault 81 recognized the unethical nature of the experiment and halted it, protecting the general population from the intended harm. Instead, the vault became a safe and thriving community for its residents. While the vault's population managed to escape the worst of Vault-Tec's plans, the secret research lab remains as a reminder of the potential danger. Within the lab, the sole survivor encounters dangerous mole rats carrying an unusual virus, and must make a difficult decision regarding the future of the vault's population. Vault 95. What happens when there aren't enough drugs to go around? Vault 95 is one of the most sinister experiments Vault-Tec conducted in the Commonwealth, as featured in Fallout 4. Initially, the vault was presented as a rehabilitation center for individuals struggling with addiction. The vault's purpose was to help residents overcome their various dependencies and lead healthier lives, while the outside world was ravaged by nuclear war. However, the real experiment in Vault 95 was much darker. The residents' rehabilitation program was designed to lead them to believe they were successfully overcoming their addictions. After 5 years, a resident, who was secretly an enclave plant, was instructed to open a hidden cache of drugs and alcohol. This planted resident was meant to stage a discovery of the stash. The sudden and unexpected access to a large quantity of drugs and alcohol precipitated a complete collapse of the rehabilitation program. The vault's population descended into chaos, driven by their rekindled addictions. The turmoil destroyed the community and resulted in a vault full of addicts, a grim outcome that highlighted the dark side of Vault-Tec's experiments. Vault 92. The sound of madness creeping through the very walls. Vault 92, located in the capital wasteland and featured in Fallout 3, is known for its sinister use of audio experiments. This vault was presented as a haven for the nation's most talented musicians and artists, ostensibly to preserve the cultural and musical heritage of humanity. However, the true purpose of Vault 92 was to test the effects of white noise broadcasts on its occupants. The vault's speakers emitted white noise laced with combat suggestions, driving the residents into a state of rage and madness. The mental deterioration led to violence and the death of many within the vault. By the time the Lone Wanderer explores Vault 92, the vault is a haunting, decayed ruin filled with dangerous creatures. Vault 11. Replenishing the Tree of Life with Human Sacrifice. Vault 11, located in the Mojave Wasteland and featured in Fallout, New Vegas, is one of the most notorious examples of Vault-Tec's cruel experiments. The Vault's residents were instructed to choose one person each year as a human sacrifice. They believed that failing to comply would result in the Vault's life support system shutting down and the entire population dying. The grim reality of the situation is revealed when the final 5 survivors, unable to bear the burden of selecting another sacrifice, decide to defy the Vault's demands. In doing so, they receive an automated message congratulating them for being a shining example of humanity, and that the Vault systems were never set to shut down. The message reveals that the true experiment was to see how long it would take the residents to unite against sacrificing each other. This tragic and twisted experiment ultimately drove the residents to paranoia, guilt, and eventual suicide. Vault 68 and 69, a nightmarish gender imbalance. Vault-Tec's experiments with Vault 68 and 69 represent some of the most disturbing and unethical projects the company ever conducted. While these vaults are not prominently featured in the mainline Fallout games, their backstories are known from Fallout lore sources. In Vault 68, Vault-Tec populated the vault with 1,000 men and just 1 woman, creating an extreme gender imbalance with no regard for the woman's safety or well-being. This experiment aimed to study the effects of such a situation and the human behavior that might arise from it. In a twisted counterpart, Vault 69 was the reverse scenario, housing 1,000 women and just 1 man. This equally unbalanced setup also served to explore the dynamics and potential consequences of a vast disparity between the sexes. That wraps up our deep dive into the most disturbing Vault-Tec experiments in the Fallout universe. From ghastly human experiments to twisted social studies, these vaults reveal the dark and unethical side of Vault-Tec's operations. The vaults serve as cautionary tales and chilling backdrops to the struggles of humanity in the post-apocalyptic world. Exploring these vaults not only uncovers the horrors of Vault-Tec's experiments, but also provides unique and memorable gameplay experiences. Whether you're delving into the wasteland for the first time or revisiting old favorites, keep an eye out for the stories hidden in these vaults. They offer insight into the depths of human resilience and the consequences of unchecked ambition. What did you think of these disturbing experiments? Did any of them surprise you? Let us know in the comments. And as always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to Gamer Roots for more gaming news and content, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Remember, gamers, in the world of Fallout, war never changes, but your gaming experience can always be enhanced. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.